Today I'd like to show you the 4 key elements that I believe are essential for any speaker or storyteller to be dynamic, to be both authentic and entertaining, and to stand out from the rest of the crowd. You've probably heard me say that I like our audiences to feel us, not just hear a whole bunch of words. So I want to look at how do we do that? What does that look like? What are the 4 cornerstones to make that happen? So I have to do a little disclaimer. My wife is a graphic designer. She was not happy that I put graffiti up to show you these things. She wanted to do something more elaborate, but I was eager to get this information to you. So to be a really good speaker, I think first of all, your message is super important. The story that you choose to tell, or stories that you choose to tell, the delivery, how you do it, and then the energy that you put behind it. So those are the things that I think if you have those 4 in place, you're already way ahead of the rest of the speakers that you might be on stage with. So, first of all, message. Why is that important? Well, of course, if you're a speaker, it's important because this is how you engage people. It's how you get people to know, like, and trust you. It's also the way in which you are able to lead them in your story, in your message to your offer so that you can help support them. Now, if you're a storyteller or a keynote speaker or somebody whose role is to just inspire and lift people up, that message needs to be super clear and you need to know exactly where you're going with it. So having your message clear is the first piece. The second is your story or stories. You may have, when you're speaking, more than one story that you want to tell, but that all bring people to a place that they really get to feel who you are. So the stories that I think I've quoted Maya Angelou before. I think it's her quote that says people may forget what you say or what you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And for me, stories are the key essence of how you make people feel. They're the key way in which people connect with you. There have been studies out there that say that when a storyteller is up there talking, that their audiences actually start to entrain with them, so they all start to go into the same movie. The other thing that I want to say about stories is that it's really important to develop flexibility with your stories. I like to develop modular stories, and what I mean by that is that they can expand or contract. So if I have 10 minutes to speak or 45 minutes to speak, I can play with those embellishments and add more texture as I have more time, but I still know how to get to the essence of that story so it gets through to people. The third thing is delivery. So the main thing that I like to talk about for delivery, the first element is to know how to show, not tell your story, to be able to embody it, to be able to not just describe what happened, this happened and then that happened and that happened, but to take us there with you so that we're really, like I always say, entering the movie of what your story is. The fourth piece is your energy. Now that sounds a little bit woo-woo and a little bit elusive. I'm not called a renegade woo coach for nothing. But what I mean by energy is not just the energy you bring to your presentation in terms of being awake, but it's also what is the heart behind it. When we start to cultivate that energetic piece, which is one of the things that I think Qigong or other types of energy practices are really helpful to do. When we start to cultivate that energy, we begin to emanate a field. So just as the way your story invites people into a movie, your energy is going to invite them into joining you in this field, so that as you're telling your story, you're allowing yourself to raise people up in the way that you want to. Again, whether it is to bring them to what it is that you have to offer as an entrepreneur or as a speaker, or what you want them to understand, the reason that you're telling the story in the first place. So those are the 4 cornerstones, the foundational pieces of what I think are essential for speakers and storytellers to stand out and be really heard and seen in a way that they might not otherwise be. That way these messages get out. So many times I have seen speakers and storytellers with incredible heart-based messages, but their stories aren't quite good, or their stories are good but they're not clear about their message. When you have all of these things together, these 4 different elements together, I think you're going to find you get some amazing results.